everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the brand new, the much improved, the incredibly awesome, I love these models, Prosecutors. Yes, from the Skaventide box that Games Workshop has very kindly sent me early to build up and paint for all of you, and well, Prosecutors have long needed a glow up. And it's finally here, so we are going to be painting them up today in the colours of the Hallowed Knights. Now, Prosecutors have been primed in grey sear, and they've actually joined the Ruination Chamber, which means they're slightly more beat up than the average Hallowed Knights. So, before we get to that, what we are in fact going to do is work on the wings, but this is going to be a slightly different colour scheme for these guys. So, the colour we're going to be using first is Frostheart, and we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the flames of the wings. Now, one thing to bear in mind here as well is another thing we're going to do as we're going along here with the Frostheart is we're also going to be applying this in the recesses between the wings, like that. So you're going to want to get this all over. Like that sort of thing. But once you've got all of the flames done, you want to go in and basically recess shade the feathers. So with all that Frostheart applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Leviadon Blue, but we're going to thin it down in roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Leviadon Blue mix. I'm going to use this to blend in that darker parts of the flames. We're going to start down at the bottom, and we're going to bring it up to, let's say, there's fine. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, then we're just going to blend it into the Frostheart. Like that. Then we're going to do the last bit as well. Got way too much on my brush there. Wash the brush, touch off that water, and then blend it in. And then once you've done it on one side, immediately flip it over and do the other side of the wing you've just done. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors, which is very different for the Hallowed Knights, but these are the Ruination Chambers. So we'll be applying the Iron Warriors over top of all of the plate armor, excluding the trim And at this point, what we're also going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of any weapons. Now, one thing I will point out here is that the Prosecutors are wearing gloves, not gauntlets, and they're also only wearing armor on the front of their thighs. As you can see. So with all that Iron Warriors applied, what we're now going to do is move on to our next colour, which is going to be some Black Legion. And we're going to be applying this over the top of the boots, the gloves, the inside of the shields, and the trousers, and the scabbard. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown. And we're going to apply this over the top of any belts and straps. With that Cygor Brown applied, it's now time to do something nice and familiar, which is to take some Talassar Blue, and we're going to apply this over top of all of the areas that we want to be blue. So this is going to be the shield facing and the smooth shoulders. With all that Talassar Blue applied, and once it's fully dry, what we're going to do is take some Ultramarines Blue, and we're going to apply this over the top. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour, and we're going to apply this over the top of, well, pretty much all of our remaining metallic details, and this is going to include all of the mail. As well. So with all that Retributor Armour now applied, we're then going to take some Blood Angels Red, and we're going to apply this over the top of the grips of the weapons. And then next up, we're going to use some Skeleton Horde. I'm going to apply this over top of all the parchment. So with that all done, it's now time to kind of start the shading process. And there's a couple of bits we haven't yet done, but we will pick those up in the shading bit. But before we do any kind of more traditional shades, what we are going to do is we're going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur. And we're going to apply this over top of all of the chainmail. Just like that. So with that Gore-Grunta Fur applied, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to use this to shade all of the silver. But in addition, we're also going to use this over top of any white details, excluding the feathers of the wings. And with all that Nuln Oil applied, we're then going to take some Guilliman Flesh. I'm going to apply this over the top of the face of our Prosecutor Prime. Like so. However, what we're also going to do with the Guilliman Flesh is we're going to use this to shade all the gold. And so with that Guilliman Flesh all applied, we then want to take some Agrax Earthshade. We don't need very much here. What we're going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of our Gore-Grunta Fur chainmail. Just like that. So with that all done, our Prosecutors are now at what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. And they're looking pretty cool. However, we're not going to leave them there. We're going to take them to the next level. I'm going to do this by adding a couple of layers and some highlights. Now the first of these is going to be a layer. And the colour we're going to be using first is some thinned down Leadbelcher. And what we're looking to do here is looking to add a little bit of shine, but only into any large flat panels. So we're going to go for the chest plate like this, just across there, like so. Then on the kind of hip plate, we're going to apply this over the top of this one side like that. We're going to leave the bit that's shadowed for now. Here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go for the inside edge like that. On the thigh we're going to colour it in like so. We're going to do the knees like that. And like that. On the arm here, we're going to do the outward facing part of the gauntlet. Like so. We're going to do the helmet. that. On the legs, we're going to do just like that much. Almost quite roughly that we're reapplying this. We're not being, I mean, we're being very precise here, but we're not kind of making sure that the whole thing is done. Like so. We're going to do like that on the foot, but we're going to leave the outside. But on this one we're going to do both. Like that. We want to do essentially the same thing on the trident and the spear. We're just going to pick one kind of angle. So like, for example, there, there, and there, like that. And lastly, on the wings, you just want to do the kind of top parts like that. Similarly on the kind of backpack, we've got this little angle here on the top, like that. So with that Leadbelcher all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight every single edge across all of the silver. So with all that Ironbreaker applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. And we're going to use this over basically 3 details. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to relayer this kind of smooth surface of the shield. Like that sort of thing. And we're also going to use this over the trim of the shield. Like that. I'm going to use it over the top of the flat parts of the shield face. Like that sort of thing. And then specifically, in fact it doesn't look like it's actually really worth it, but what we can do, no, we don't need to on the shoulder. Don't need to add any on the shoulder. But what we do need to do is on the wings, we just want to apply this over the top of the flat parts of these caps. So there and there. And then same again on the back. Like that. And so with that Retributor Armour all applied, we are then going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the gold. So with all that Liberator Gold applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Corax White. We're going to use this to highlight any white details, but the main feature here is we're going to use this to basically fully relayer the wings. And specifically with the wings, the feathers. So with all that Corax White applied, we can actually now move on to the next colour, which is going to be some thinned down Dawnstone. And we're going to use this to pick out things like the gloves. With that Dawnstone applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Hoeth Blue. I'm going to use this to highlight the kind of hard blue details, not the flames. Basically. So with that all done, we then want to take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight the facial features. What few of them there are. So with that Flayed One Flesh applied, we then want to take a tiny amount of Talassar Blue. And we want to use this over the top of the eyeballs. And with that Talassar Blue applied, we then want to take a teensy tiny little dot of Lothern Blue. And we want to apply this over the top of the middle of the eyeball. And so with that now done, it's time to finish off the Prosecutors by taking some Blood Angels Red. And we're going to apply this over the top of all the little gems. There's one on the forehead of the shield, 2 on the weapons, and 1 on the scabbard. And so with those bases now complete in the same style as the Lord Vigilant on Gryfstalker, our Prosecutors are now finished. And, well, these are the Prosecutors I had in mind. The old ones were, interesting. But now we've got some absolutely stunning new ones, and I can't wait for the Azeroth. And, well, fingers crossed, we get ourselves a new Celestant Prime in this same style, because that made me very happy. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.